Good afternoon, landlords. Yesterday, the Housing Legislation Amendment Bill 2021 was passed in Queensland Parliament. This means that there's 4 reforms that are coming into play. We're going to go over them a little bit and when they're going to come in, and there will be more information coming down the track. So the first provision is domestic and family violence. So some of you may already be aware of this, but a tenant who finds himself in a domestic violence situation can get some proof from the police in the form of DVO, and they can give 7 days notice and vacate the property with no fees apart from the 7 days in rent. So that's the first one. The second one is in regard to pets, which this one's a little bit more tricky because it actually eliminates the property owner's right to have a no pets policy. So what that means is the tenant can still apply for a pet, and there has to be good reason as to why a landlord would say no. So the other thing they've done to counteract that, because most landlords aren't going to be happy about that, is pet damage has been excluded from fair wear and tear, which is a really good thing because that is totally separate when you're doing a vacate. So any damage from a pet is totally separate, which is great. The second thing that is, with pets, you can write things into the lease that say the pet is not to be inside, the pet is not to dig up all the grass, etc., etc. And so if, when a routine is done, the pet has been doing this, they can actually be breached, which is a lot better than how it used to be because you used to have to fight for it. So that in itself could be a better thing. The next one is new grounds for termination. Now, you still have the ability to end a tenancy, but it has to be at the end of a lease and there's no more without grounds. Okay, so you can just terminate a tenancy with the end of the lease, that terminates it. So the other one, of course, is the same as what it was before with the selling of a property, moving back in, renos, things of that nature. So that's that one. The next one is changes to periodic tenancies. Now, as you know, we don't normally do periodic tenancies, but with a periodic tenancy now, you'd basically be unable to get your tenant out because there's no grounds for getting them out. So now what effectively is going to happen is every tenant all over Queensland will be on a lease because otherwise the tenant could live there forever. So that's another one that's come in. The last one is provision for minimum housing standards. Now this one, it's an extension of section 185 of the Residential Tenancies Act, which states that property needs to be in good working order. Now there's going to be a few more things on that, but basically it needs to be waterproof, doors and windows need to lock properly, windows have to have some sort of covering, the kitchen and laundry facilities need to work, etc., etc. But we will go over that in more detail soon. So the last thing I wanted to say was these provisions, the first 3, which is domestic and family violence, pets and new grounds for termination, they will come in the next 6 to 12 months. The one for minimum standards, and this one's a big one, that one's going to come in 2023, so we're going to have more time to get ready for that one, which we're going to need. So that was just an overview of what's happened so far. We'll give you more information as we get more information through next week and the week after. So let's go with this, people, and thank you for listening.